Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines. We've got Ripple in the U.S. Faster Payments Council report, and you're going to like it, in the $156 trillion worth of cross-border they're talking about. And we've got Brad Garlinghouse, who's going to talk to us about what's going on. And we could see a judgment and a ruling in this case any day. We got that and so much more. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter for exclusive content. Right now, the market is off by 3.7%, and we are at $1.07 trillion market cap for crypto. Good morning, everybody. Bitcoin, 22,351 and change. It's off by 6.6% on the 7-day. 4.2 of that in the last 24 hour. Damn near the same here for Ethereum at 1566 and change. Tether market cap, 71.1 billion plus. XRP coming in at 36 cents right now. It's off by 2.4 on the 24 hour, 5.3 on the 7-day. Let's get started right here. You need to check this out. This here is Ray Fuentes from the Link2 fam telling us exactly what's going on with PolySign's strategic partner, Cowen. You're going to like it. It only gets bigger from here, ladies and gentlemen. Take a listen.
Hi, everyone. It's Ray at Link2, coming in hot with some news fresh off the press. The strategic partner to the Link2 portfolio company, PolySign, Cowen Inc., was just acquired by the legacy player, Toronto Dominion Bank, collectively known as the TD Bank Group, also known as TD, or the bank for short. I'll play a clip including the announcement in just a moment. TD is the 6th largest bank in North America by assets under management and serves over 27 million customers globally. Cowen Inc. is an early investor in PolySign, which means TD is now an investor in PolySign, right alongside the leading investors Blockchain.com, Hard Yaka, aka Greg Kidd, and the Brave and Howard Asset Management, who has over 26 billion in assets under management. To celebrate the news, Link2 is offering exclusive tiered pricing to our Team Apollo members, all investors with a portfolio size of $70,000 or greater. Also, for all investors that invest a total of $150,000 into the Link2 portfolio company PolySign during the month of March, Link2 will treat you to an exclusive Las Vegas private dinner with PolySign CEO Jack McDonald when we're all out in Las Vegas for the upcoming XRP Army Conference, hosted by the Link2 Team Apollo member Brad Kimes, aka Digital Perspectives. And yesterday was a record day for our member investments in PolySign. Not only did we sell over $1 million in PolySign inventory, but a number of our members already qualified for our exclusive Las Vegas private dinner. Please reach out to our sales team to get more details on the Link2 portfolio company PolySign, the exclusive VIP dinner, and our participation in the upcoming Las Vegas XRP Army Conference. Here's the clip including TD Cowen's announcement. Thanks for tuning in.
We are thrilled to celebrate this tremendous milestone as we welcome Cowen to the TD Securities team. The combination of incredible talent and similar beliefs coming together make us a formidable partner with a much larger scale.
We could not be more excited to take this next step on our journey. We are better positioned to leverage our unique strengths as an organization and a platform in even more meaningful ways to truly cement our partnership in the months and years ahead.
Well said. Don't mess around and click that link. And I'm telling you, get your tickets to XRP Las Vegas 2023, May 5th, May 6th. Get a ticket for each day. You're going to have the opportunity. Look, there's only so much time in this world. This is a moment where people are coming together, and this is going to be your moment to be in the same room with people that you wanted to talk to and speak to, ask questions of, all of these things. You're going to have that moment at this conference. Don't mess around. It will sell out. Click that link and check out PolySign. You guys know I love it, and I love my sponsor. Here we go right here. It's Crypto.com suspends U.S. dollar transfers via Silvergate. Look, we know and we reported that Silvergate Bank received a huge bailout from Home and Savings Loans Bank, and that is not what it's designed to do. We reported here the gentleman that was in the congressional hearing that said as much as well. I believe he was an official from the SEC, if my memory serves me correctly. If I'm not, put a link underneath the video. I'll correct it. But nevertheless, Silvergate's had a lot of troubles. And, you have to build on this idea that, watching Silvergate go through this, if Silvergate were to continue to go down, don't you know that Gary Gensler will use this just as he's done FTX after I believe he's helped prop that up through the meetings that he had before FTX's collapse, awarding FTX with a broker-dealer's license, and now uses it as an example now that it's collapsed after not doing his own job to stop it. He actually endorsed it and gave them a broker-dealer's license. We may see the same example here if Silvergate goes down. We're watching closely, and we will report. John Deaton says right here, he's been saying for a year that Gary Gensler has had the exchanges in his sights, and it's absolutely spot on here. As Bitcoin Archive shares that new cryptocurrency exchanges cannot be relied on as a qualified custodian. I mean, it doesn't get any clearer than this. I've been talking about this for years, about the centralization of exchanges. For years. I think 2019, 2020, certainly 2020. The idea of understanding that everything is bottlenecked there and it doesn't mirror the traditional conventional market structures and framework. And if you superimpose the traditional market infrastructure over top of this merging market, you see that you don't have what you have at Fidelity. Like you buy Fidelity, they don't hold your stock. It goes to a custodian. That's what they're going to do here. Don't believe it. It's still true. And there's going to be pain in order to get it done. However, it doesn't mean I endorse Gary Gensler's full agenda. I think we all know that. Then we get right here. Oh, boy. Shout out to Meta Lawman, John Deaton here. Gary Gensler just stated that he believes the SEC has jurisdiction to make rules concerning custody of all of an investor's assets, not just their funds or securities. Let that sink in. I asked a question here. Where is Congress to stop Gary Gensler? Where is all the posturing and, political posturing and soapbox talk that we've heard from Warren Davidson or Tom Emmer or Patrick McHenry? With all due respect, where's the action? I don't want words. I don't want things that I hear that people in this space agree with. I want to see you take action. That's why you're actually there and I'm home here talking on a microphone. We're waiting. We're waiting. And by the way, I'll take somebody on the left-hand side of the aisle too. I have no discretion here at who's got sense enough and the courage enough to actually get this in order here. I have no problem with a regulatory framework for digital assets. In fact, I encourage it to the behest of all the libertarians listening here. This is where it's going, and at 51, I realize it. But I tell you this, the way Gary Gensler is going about it is the part I have a problem with. He sees himself as a hammer and everything as a nail. Now, I want to thank Perry Ann Boring and the Digital Chamber of Commerce for having me on the Digital Chamber of Commerce Twitter space yesterday. It was an incredible privilege and an honor, and I certainly don't take it lightly. I was very grateful for that. The Digital Chamber of Commerce are doing great work to put a stop to the SEC's overreach, as well as John Deaton and others. Check out the amicus brief they filed in the very important SEC versus Wahi case. If I could quickly here, the reason that case is so important, and it is so important what they've done by filing this amicus brief in that case, is to simply understand that, it is because they're going after a secondary market buyer and holder and claiming that what he has done is a security as well. It's a different argument when you understand the SEC going after a Ripple or another entity and saying, no, the digital asset they use or have been escrowing or whatever is a security. That's an argument of itself. But to go after an individual who bought off the secondary market and say this, what he holds is a security is another matter, and it should scare the hell out of all of us. Gary Gensler has said Bitcoin is not a security, but I have to ask, how do we know where it came from? Who's behind it? What if it was designed by a bad actor or country that we're not even aware of? How can Gary Gensler make these claims that he's made? Take a listen.
And if I could, I just wanted to say, I thought it was fitting that Stuart Alderati, Ripple's general counsel, had commented on Gary Gensler talking about Bitcoin being the only thing that was not a security. And it really puts him in a position where he should really recuse himself from any votes that happen within the SEC based on digital assets and any kind of lawsuits, because he's prejudged everything without the information. Another thing, and I don't say this from any other position than the legal argument of being able to invest in alphanumeric code, which is what we're all talking about with digital assets here. Where do we know Bitcoin, where it came from, right? How is it that we can just say that itself is nothing wrong with it? How do we know that there's not a bad country, a North Korea, let's say, or a Russia that's behind the creation of that? And God knows what could happen 10 years from now. If you guys could just comment on that on the way out, I'd appreciate it.
And I tell you, once again, I do appreciate that incredible conversation with Perry Ann and all the other participants on the panel. It was a great conversation, and I look forward to hopefully being able to do more. I learned so much. Phillip Rowe, former Ripple executive, now over here helping out as a director of APAC and MENA when he was an APAC and MENA Ripple executive here. Take a look at where he's at now. This is pretty nice. DFCRC, Digital Finance, Reserve Bank of Australia. Yeah. Phillip Rowe, the program director, CBDC with the DFCRC, said the variety of use cases proposed covers a range of problems that could potentially be addressed by CBDC, including some of that involve the use of CBDC for atomic settlement of transactions and tokenized assets. The process of validating use cases with industry participants and regulators will inform further research into design considerations for a CBDC that could potentially play a role in a tokenized economy. That's what we're talking about here. And they're talking about around publishing that project and that report there in the middle of the year. We'll keep an eye out for that as it comes. But that brings us to this. A new report from the study and survey that was done here with Ripple and the U.S. Faster Payments Council. Now, as we move through the understanding of this case, the SEC versus Ripple, and we don't know the outcomes, and you're going to want to see the next video I put out of Ripple's general counsel talking exactly about what the outcomes could be. I offer everyone to understand this information we're going to move through extremely quickly here, just as a highlight. And remember, Ripple is a partner to the Federal Reserve U.S. Faster Payments Council, as well as the Digital Dollar Project. And that's not for nothing, as you're about to see. Now, I'm going to scroll down here. You should read this whole report here, which you can find on my Twitter here. But I'm going to scroll down here very quickly and just show you Ripple and Faster Payments Council collaborated on the inaugural Global Payment Survey to explore trends among the growing market and crypto expansion in order to better understand payments, provider sentiment, and their adoption of blockchain and crypto payments. Now, quickly we move through here because we still have Brad Garlinghouse to get to here. What I find interesting about this is that it says U.S. cryptocurrency payments use case maturity in 2023. Remittances and infrastructure is at a 10, which means its highest maturity level, which tells me the payment infrastructure is already there. And what has Ripple been doing all of these years? Building the market infrastructure to allow this to even be an opportunity to take advantage of. I remind you. Now, as we move through here, I want to go to page 7 very quickly here, where it talks about 97% of respondents believe blockchain technology and cryptocurrency will have a significant or very significant role in enabling faster payments within the next 3 years. Come on in. Then we talk about the size of this market here. An estimated $10 billion they're talking about here. They say increasing savings, financial institutions, cross-border transactions, an estimated $10 billion by 2030 thanks to fast, reliable, transparent payment settlement It says observers shouldn't underestimate the transformative opportunity here. Global cross-border payment flows are expected to reach 156 trillion, driven by a 5% compound annual growth rate. How about that? Massive, massive numbers, ladies and gentlemen. If we go on here very quickly, and I'm skipping over a fantastic, easy read. You should read the entire report for yourself. Over 50% of respondents believe that lower payments costs both domestically and internationally is a crypto's primary benefit. Now, we reported just the other day that the undersecretary to Janet Yellen, the U.S. Treasury, said the same exact thing. I love seeing this kind of alignment, especially knowing that Ripple is right here working with the Fed. Come on in. Then we go here very quickly to page 13. I want to scroll to here very quickly and show you this, which is basically the sentiment. Nearly every respondent, 98%, acknowledged the environmental impact associated with blockchain use. Listen, I mean, look at that number. This is what we're talking about here. Would only buy sustainable cryptocurrencies, which we know XRP actually is. And then if you take the other 30% and 24%, they would prefer to buy sustainable cryptocurrencies and strongly prefer to buy it. So you're talking the majority of this survey on this particular answer all being for a digital asset like XRP. I think it's important to highlight this too. The IMF recently probed the energy profiles of payment types, noting that some crypto assets can be more energy efficient than much of the current payment landscape. Increasingly, both policymakers and public express concerns of the environmental impacts of money, including traditional fiat currency. One university study estimates the total annual environmental cost of 50 billion U.S. banknotes in circulation to be 12.9 billion. But the problem here is there's trillions in circulation. So, this is quite a survey and quite a revealing number, I believe, here. And you should read the whole report. Again, you can find it on the Twitter. Right now, let's listen to Brad Garlinghouse lay it down. It's a short clip, but it's what you need to know. It is him right here. Take a listen. He says, Kaylee Lenz asked if the U.S. doesn't get its act together, is all of this crypto going offshore? He says it already is. Take a listen.
SEC bringing the case against Ripple was not really just a case about Ripple or about XRP. It's really about the industry and how the SEC is kind of playing offense and attacking the whole industry. 2.5 years ago when this started, I'm not sure everyone fully digested that, and now that is widely understood. This is going to be pivotal for the whole industry because if the SEC is able to prevail, I think there's a lot of other cases, and some of them just in the last 4 weeks, I think they brought 5 additional enforcement cases. The macro headline for me is this is not a healthy way to regulate an industry. Your regulation through enforcement, as opposed to where we're seeing in other countries where they're doing the work, right? They're codifying, they're creating a framework that allows an industry to grow while protecting consumers. And I think that's really what the U.S. is lagging. And to some degree why I'm here in Washington is to continue to try to evangelize and educate. Here's how these technologies can really benefit consumers, benefit industry.
Is what I'm hearing from you essentially, if the U.S. doesn't get its act together and move more quickly, all of this is going offshore. It's just going elsewhere.
Well, it already is. I mean, the sad reality is the U.S. really is already behind. This is not behind countries that we haven't necessarily heard of. This is behind Australia and behind the UK, Japan, Singapore, Switzerland. There's a lot of countries that have taken the time and thoughtfulness to create that clear rules of the road. By contrast, when I first got involved in the tech industry in the late 90s, some were saying the internet should be banned. They were saying, here's how the internet is being used for illicit purposes. But the U.S. government said, no, we're going to create a framework. And that allowed entrepreneurs, that allowed investors to come in and look at the benefits to the United States on a geopolitical basis to have the Amazons and Googles based in headquartered in the United States. We're at, I think, severe risk of having that not happen in this next evolution of technology around blockchain and crypto. It has already started moving outside the United States. And also, the consumers are suffering because of that, because you don't have the same protections that the U.S. regulatory frameworks can provide.
What would a good framework look like, in your view?
Well, look, I think what you're seeing right now is the Securities and Exchange Commission. If you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And not everything here is a nail. And I think any framework has to start with clear protections for consumers, but then to thoughtfully understand that these aren't always going to be securities. Some of them are used as currencies. That is, having an efficient process to trade, exchange, move those things would be much harder in a world if they were regulated as securities.
There you have it. Brad Garlinghouse laying down the fire. You know, I think to the point, one of the points he made in there is that when this all first started with the SEC versus Ripple, it was really all on Ripple's back, and it was just about them and not the rest of the crypto space. Quickly over time through this entire journey of this case, it has come to light for everyone in the digital asset space that this case represents all of crypto and digital assets broadly. There's no question about that. Everything is at stake here. It is very important that we all unite, throw the tribalism out the window, stronger together, and move forward. Now, very quickly here, a reminder from Eleanor Terrett here, a summary judgment is expected any day. Alderati said maybe as soon as the end of this month even. Brace yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, and it could be something you like and something you don't like, but we're here for it when it happens. Shout out to Eleanor and shout out to everybody else. This is not financial advice. This is just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.